So since the last 15 days or so, the local edition of Times of India, they have been running a daily feature, which they call 7 Habits of Highly Effective Hyderabadis. I guess this is something similar to, it is on the lines of the 7 Habits of Effective People of Stephen Covey's, but this has become quite popular here. And literally every day they publish someone from some achiever from the fields of, let us say, arts and culture, films, sports, professions, and so on and so forth. So I was also asked to contribute to this particular feature. And if I recall correctly, mine was the second in the series. So I gave them my points, and they printed it also. But thereafter, the response to that feature has been unbelievable. It has gone viral. Lots of people with whom I have lost connections for ages, they got back telling that they read about my piece and they were so impressed. I posted it on my LinkedIn, where it got hundreds and thousands of views. And of course, it took me quite by surprise, because first of all, I'm not as popular as some of the others who are being featured. And I was kind of taken aback by why so much of response, so much of reaction has come to it. But then many people told me that the points that I made, first of all, these points resonated with them. These are things which they can themselves do, and they distinctly connected a very strong dose of element of self-improvement with some of the things that I spoke about. So those are not very motherhood kind of ambitious New Year resolutions kinds of things which you hope to make, but you don't really intend to follow. These are kind of ingrained habits which one runs regularly as a part of your life. So what I thought that I will quickly speak about all those 7 things that I wrote there, and maybe elaborate in a couple of minutes each of these, and why are they important to me, and what kind of transformation, what kind of change do I see in myself because I've been following these habits. These are not resolutions, as I told you. These are strong habits which are in me, which I've been practicing and cultivating, maybe some of them for decades altogether. So let me kind of read out what I wrote, and then let me also very quickly elaborate on each of these. So one point which I made was, the first point which I made was that I wake up at 5:40 a.m. and go for my walk at 6 a.m. no matter what. Whether it is 4 degrees Celsius outside, or even if I slept at 4 a.m. the previous night, it doesn't matter. It is not about the walk. It is about inculcating willpower in you. And this is something which I mentioned and wrote largely in the context of the last 2 years. What we have seen everywhere is that COVID, of course, has taken a heavy toll on our lives, but lots of people have also given up in their battle with COVID. We have lost some very, very near and dear people. And of the few cases that I know of these kind of personal losses of lives, what I learned about them was that people who actually were not able to kind of keep themselves, their spirits, their willpower very, very strong, they eventually succumbed. So what I wrote in this particular piece is, when 100 medicines fail, it is your willpower that will see you through. So cultivate it. And this, in my opinion, is something which is very fundamental. I have been a student of psychology. I know about what are called psychosomatic disorders, how physical diseases or bodily diseases eventually are connected to what goes on in your mind. And if you're able to keep your mind strong, a large part of your recovery process is aided because of that. So but lots of people say, people around us, we see them, hear them all the time, that somehow it is very difficult to develop a strong willpower. And many people also believe that either you are born with a strong willpower or you don't have a willpower at all. So this is something which I want to disprove. I want to make this point by writing about my early morning wake up habits, going for a walk habit, is that these are various ways in which you can create a willpower. So suppose you go and sleep at 4 in the morning and you have to wake up at 5:40. It will be very annoying. It will be very disturbing. I mean, when the alarm wakes you up, your body will just not be cooperating. You just not will be able to pull yourself out of the bed. But if you have that determination that no matter what, I have to be seen at the entrance of the KBR park at 6 o'clock, then you will kind of will yourself. And of course, when I wrote all these things and then it has started getting viral, many people have commented that this also is an unhealthy practice to sleep for just 2 hours. Of course, the article has only those many words that you can use. So the elaboration is that I do catch up on my sleep at some later point in the day. So it's not that I'll be managing with only 2 hours of sleep, which clearly is not healthy. And it's not that I'll be going to bed at 4 a.m. every day because I have to wake up at 5:40. I do manage a reasonably 6 to 8 hours of sleep by looking at my sleep timings as well. The second point that I wrote was that I also cultivate deep and meaningful friendships. Those 2,000 friends on Facebook mean nothing if you don't have a handful of friends who you can count on and who can count on you. So again, something which we all understand quite well. At some point in time, numbers of friends on your Facebook or followers on your Twitter or on your LinkedIn, these all become just statistics. These all become numbers. Okay, I'm more active on Twitter than others. And I do notice lots of people, the moment they hit a milestone, 30,000 followers today, 35,000 followers today, I mean, they publicize these kind of milestones, which maybe is nice. I mean, the fact that people like to follow and hear what you have to say. Your opinion matters in that way. But at some point in time, these are just numbers. So you should not be in a race where you are just agglomerating numbers. What should really matter is, how many of these are really deep and meaningful friendships? And eventually, people whom you can count on, people who can count on you is much more material than these kind of numbers. The third point I made was, I always stand in line and wait for my turn in the queue. Seems like no big deal, but it is a great way to keep your ego in check and stay humble. Anyone can feel entitled and throw his weight around, but a man of real character is one who stays humble always. Again, something which I believe in very strongly. See, all of us, I mean, you may be the biggest superstar in Hindi cinema, you may be the captain of the Indian cricket team, you may be the chief minister of a state or someone equally accomplished. But in some ways, it is just a matter of luck. I mean, if you're not lucky enough, you could have been born in some very, very ordinary family and you would have lost your entire life in anonymity. So it's just a dice, a roll of a dice which has worked out in your favor, and therefore you are where you are today. So obviously you can't feel entitled about it, something which chance has contributed quite a lot. And therefore it is very important to stay humble, to stay grounded, not throw your weight around. And again, some of the good ways of displaying that or practicing it is to follow this cue discipline. So these days, I mean, just recently, for instance, in Hyderabad, we had the marriage season. Literally every day, 2 to 3 invites will be there. And there'll be good number of crowds in all these marriages. And obviously there is a shortcut. Like if you want to go and greet the bride and groom, there is a side channel in which people who are known, they can be accommodated. But I never do that. I ensure that even if the queue is, let us say 500 people, I'll go there and stand at the end of it. And I'll just take my time and be there. The fourth point that I made, this is a more personal kind of point. On January 1st every day, I turn vegetarian for the next 6 months. It is a great way to keep your health in check. Of course, this is very idiosyncratic. It is not to suggest that in the remaining 6 months, you indulge recklessly and allow your health to be completely gone for a toss. You do take care of your health all the time. But I have been practicing this for more than about 15-17 years now. I practice 6 months of vegetarian diet. And obviously at this time, I also do lots of physical activities, exercises, keep my food quantity intake in check. And I do see that after the 6 months period, the body is well toned, you feel lighter, you feel healthier. But of course, this is very, very idiosyncratic. The next point that I make is, I make it a point to volunteer. That means I go beyond the call of duty to be of whatever help I can in whichever situation. There is an innate goodness in all of us. We saw this during COVID when absolute strangers came to the help of each other. Volunteering helps bring out that innate goodness in you. Again, a point which I believe very, very strongly. And because I enjoy a position in the government in Hyderabad, I have been propagating this quite a lot. And I truly believe that since we are on the cusp of 75th year of independence, the other milestone of 150th anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi is also close by. And this will be a very befitting tribute to both the country as well as to Mahatma Gandhi, the founder of this country, if we encourage a mass movement on volunteering. Because as I mentioned in the point I read a while ago, we saw this in COVID, but we also see it at other times. Lots of people are in very vulnerable positions. And if there are people who can help them beyond your call of duty, we have to. I mean, this is what humanity is all about. And in COVID, we saw amazing examples. In fact, in Hyderabad, the working class neighborhoods are called bastis. And many of you will recall during the first wave of COVID, rather, we had a very serious tragedy of the migrant workers. We had thousands of them literally walking back to their native places. And in Hyderabad, I saw something remarkable. So what I saw was that whenever people would be walking by a basti, the basti people themselves they're not men and women of means by any standard. They're ordinary, humble, working class kind of people. But even they stepped out and they were giving food, they were giving water, they were giving footwear to people in need. So innate goodness is there in all of us. The only need is that we channelize into the shape of a mass movement. And if everyone takes responsibility of volunteering, then the whole world will be a great place. The next point that I made was I maintain a fine work-life balance. That is why you will see me enjoying sports, cultural activities, parties, or social events. These are all little ways in which I ensure there is something to look forward to at the end of a hard day's work. Again, something very important. So work-life balance is something which is spoken about quite a lot, but how do you bring it into action? How do you really practice it? And this is what I do. So I have a very strong very passionate interest in sports, in culture, in arts, literature. So there are lots of things which happen in Hyderabad, the Hyderabad Literary Festival, Theatre Festival, lots of art events happen, music event happens. And of course, I'm free to go and attend and participate in any of those, but I have also volunteered to organize many of them. So for instance, I chair the Hyderabad Literary Festival. I'm a part of the organizing committee of a sports event which happens here, the 10K run, and so on and so forth. So apart from participating and enjoying these evenings, I also spend time and effort in organizing some of these events. And these bring out a good work-life balance, a new dimension in my life. So while I stay focused on work in the working hours, but post that, there are new sets of activities, new sets of people to interact with. You come out of your comfort zone. There are other kinds of responsibilities and challenges to meet. And these come up in a very interesting way in enriching your life. The last point that I made was I count my blessings. Blessings are beyond the materialistic things of life. Gratitude is essentially a reminder to yourself that whatever you enjoy is not some divine right. It is just that God chose to be bountiful towards you for some reason. So be grateful. I alluded to this thought earlier also when I spoke about maintaining that Q discipline. So this is again an elaboration on the same point, that gratitude should show in everything that you do, that you think of, that you are. And as I said, God has chosen to be bountiful towards you. It could have very easily been the other way around, and you would have been leading a very, very troubled and difficult and more or less an anonymous kind of life. So today, when you are a person of some position, some stature, and people look up to you, you also should remain humble, should remain grateful. And therefore, counting your blessings is something which is very, very important. It is again a mantra, which is also very useful in helping you come out of difficult times. See, when you are successful, when you are enjoying the best moments of your success, you remain humble. But at all times, you will not be having the same levels of success. There will be occasions, there will be moments when you will not be successful. Things will not be working your way. And if you count your blessings, if you have that innate sense that you should be grateful to where you are, the troubled times, the difficult times, they will just pass over. You will feel that this is just a cycle which comes and goes. So neither you should be over the moon when something great happens, nor you should be down the dumps when things are not working your way. So I feel that these 7 habits of mine that I was able to share and I've been able to explain a little bit now through this talk will help many others in thinking about their own life, where they are going, where do they stand, and how to make that life much more relevant, make it count, and be of use to others as well. So thanks a lot for your patient listening. Thank you for inviting me TEDx IIFT.